Hello, everyone. How are you all doing today? Did you watch the Wimbledon match yesterday? Today, I'm going to be discussing a passage from 2012 CSAT paper, and I hope that you at least are reading newspapers every day. If you watched Wimbledon match yesterday, you would have noticed जिसे GOAT कहा जाता है, greatest of all times कहा जाता है, वो भी कभी-कभी हार जाता है. So अगर आपका ये 4th, 5th या 6th attempt है, तो आप ये समझिए कि अगर आप राइट अप्रोच को पकड़ लें, ग्रास्प कर लें, तो आपकी तैयारी और अच्छी हो जाएगी और निखर कर आएगी. तो मायूस मत महसूस कीजिए, क्योंकि जो आपकी पास्ट अकम्पलिशमेंट्स हैं वो कहीं गई नहीं है, वो भी वही है. ये सारा एक्सपीरियंस आपको एक अप्रोच दे रहा है अच्छा जीतने की और अच्छा करने की. आई हैव हर्ड समवेयर एल्स दैट each time we face with rejection, we should understand that rejection is not exactly rejection, but it's a higher power's protection. Maybe the higher power is helping us prepare better to get a better rank when we finally reach that level where we write mains and appear for the interview. So all the best to all of you. Let me know if you are enjoying these videos, not just enjoying, but finding some parts at least of this video or these videos that I present to you useful. To show that, you can give me a like here, and I kind of feel really embarrassed when asking for that, but this is how algorithm works these days. I also feel as a content creator motivated to bring more content when I see that my audience is actually paying attention to the content that I'm creating, to the work that I am presenting here. So in today's video, I'll present a passage from economics. Those of you who are already good at understanding the concepts of economics may find it really easy peasy. But those of you who need more understanding of a certain term can stay till the end of the video and see what words they found challenging, and also write in the comment section if there's anything that I can present more clarification on. So here's the passage for today. I'm also using this headset so that there is no noise of the background here when I speak with you in my videos. If you are finding the use of this headset and the mic useful, I'll be pleased to know that I will like to bring content as is required and make better, more effective videos as is required. So this is one passage, and you can find this passage on your own as well. Look at the passage. I haven't underlined any word in this passage, the line that's highlighted. I'm going to take this off. Here it is. This is the passage. Pause the video and read this passage. This paragraph will also be found in the description box below on this video. So you can find this passage in the description box. I'm counting to 5. Right. I am assuming that you paused the video and read the passage. Now I'll take you through to the parts of the passage that your mind was expected to highlight. Here. Could you skim read the passage for these clues? What are those clues? Competition law highlighted in the first line in the context of foreign direct investment. And what about FDI? What's being discussed in that context? Liberalization of FDI. What's that about? To what extent is this liberalization useful? And what more can be done to make this FDI very useful and relevant and favorable to our country's development? This is being discussed. Now, look at the second sentence. The impact of FDI is not always pro-competitive. What do you understand from this? Is it never pro-competitive, or is it sometimes not pro-competitive? What is your understanding? Never or sometimes from just these lines, not always pro-competitive. What is your understanding? Never or sometimes? Your understanding should be sometimes not pro-competitive. Third sentence, very often FDI takes the form of a foreign corporation. Did you read always or very often? What did you understand from that? It is important that I stop here and ask you to give me an answer. What do you understand from the words very often? Is it always or sometimes? Sometimes. And when are those sometimes? FDI takes the form of a foreign corporation acquiring a domestic enterprise or establishing a joint venture with one. Acquiring or establishing a joint venture, these two contexts given. By making such an acquisition, what happens? For an investor, may. Does it mean all the time or does it mean sometimes? What does it mean? May. All the time or sometimes? Huh? What do you understand by may? It happens all the time or does it happen sometimes? Or do you also understand it may happen and may not happen? Possibility. May suggests possibility. Keep that in mind. Now, when you keep these things in mind, you notice by making such an acquisition, the foreign investor may substantially lessen competition and gain a dominant position in the relevant market, thus charging higher prices. What is the modifier here? Higher prices. Keep that in mind. There's another scenario given here. Why is the scenario given here? This is an additional supporting point in which context? In the context where it says FDI, its impact is sometimes not pro-competitive. To support that argument, keep that in mind. Another scenario is where the affiliates of two separate multinational companies, affiliates, two entities connected with each other of two separate multinational companies have been established in competition with one another in a particular developing economy following the liberalization of FDI. So the liberalization of the FDI could lead to these negative consequences sometimes. Do you know that? Subsequently, what may happen? The parent companies overseas merge, as a result of which, with the affiliates no longer remaining independent, and competition in the host country may be artificially inflated. So let me hypothetically imagine Pepsi and Coke. These are two competitors in India. People may think Coke is better or may think Pepsi is better. There's an artificial competition, artificial market. People start assuming they just have two choices, either to have Coke or Pepsi. But somewhere outside, if Pepsi and Coke, these companies merge together, they will continue to benefit from this artificially inflated competition scene between Pepsi and Coke, because people drink either Coke or Pepsi. Any which way, this merger is benefiting outside the country. This is a hypothetical situation. I have used this example. Those of you who read economics or who know more about FDI or such kind of mergers, can please help us all understand, us all meaning the viewers and I, understand better, or get a better insight into this by writing in the comment section. I will honestly, truly value that contribution. Now, artificially inflated, we've seen this. What gets artificially inflated? Competition in the host country. Most of these adverse consequences of what kind of consequences? Positive or negative? Negative. Adverse consequences of mergers and acquisitions by MNCs can be avoided. Now, here is a solution. So far, we saw a challenge, a negative outcome. a possible negative outcome. Now, this passage gets divided into two parts, problem and solution. What is the solution part? Can be avoided if an effective competition law is in place. Now you see this word appearing again. It appeared here in the first line and here in this part where the solution part starts. So connect these dots. Also, now to support this argument, this solution presented here, there is the word also. An economy that has implemented an effective competition law. Again, you see the word competition law is in a better position to attract FDI than one that has not. How? Two things. This is not just because one thing, but also the second thing. What's the first thing? Most MNCs are expected. They are expected. Does it say they are accustomed to? Huh? Most MNCs are expected to. Is that the same as they are accustomed to? They are expected to be accustomed to, and they are accustomed to. Are these two things same or different? They are different. Now notice the use of words carefully here again. Are expected to be accustomed to the operation of such a law in their home countries and know how to deal with such concerns, but also that MNCs expect competition authorities. What kind of authorities? Competition authorities bringing in what? Competition law. To ensure a level playing field, a fair play, level playing field between domestic and foreign firms. So these are the two aspects of the solution presented. Now look at question number 1. Question number 39 from set C of 2012 UPSC CSAT passage. With reference to the passage, consider the following statements. It's desirable that the impact of FDI should be pro-competitive. The entry of foreign investors invariably leads to the inflated price in domestic markets. I will allow you 5 at the count of my fingers counting 5 to answer this question. 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, neither 1 nor 2. What's your answer? What answer do you choose? I've helped you understand this passage. What answer do you choose? For the next question, go to the description box right now and try to answer that next question without me explaining the passage to you. I hope you've already done that, but in case you've not done that, do it now. Okay, now let's discuss question number 39. Is it desirable that impact of FDI should be pro-competitive? Look at the tone of the passage, right in the second line. When it talks about the negative consequences of liberalization of FDI, it says the impact of FDI is not always pro-competitive, which means the passage says it's a bad thing. It is not desirable because the passage also talks about solution for that. So the passage indicates that it is desirable. Would you go with this? Look at the second option, the entry of foreign direct investors invariably. What's the meaning of the word invariably? What does it mean? Always, automatically? Does it mean that? Or does it mean sometimes? It has variation, no variation, without variation. That means usually. That means almost all the times. That may also mean always. We sort of do not accept such statements immediately. We wait. If the passage says the same thing, we choose them. If it doesn't, we don't choose them. So the entry of FDI always leads to inflated prices in domestic markets? No. If we have the right kind of competition law, this can be avoided. Does the passage talk about that? Yes, it does. So the answer here is 1 only. If you find a different answer, please let me know so that if at all any correction is required, that can be made. I feel strongly and I believe that UPSC main answer key has the answer as option A for question number 39, set C, 2012 passage. Now, question number 40. According to the passage, how does a foreign investor dominate the relevant domestic market? How does it? Go back to the passage. How does it dominate? Here you find how does it dominate? Gain a dominant position? How? By doing what? All these things. Here you find the answer. This is called scanning for specific key phrase. Locating it in the passage and reading around that key phrase and finding the answer. Find the answer. Have you read it? Use the description box if you haven't read it, or go back to the video and watch it again to read it. Here we have our question. How does a foreign investor dominate the relevant dominant market? Multinational companies get accustomed. Did you remember I said there's a difference between are expected to get accustomed and are accustomed or get accustomed? Did you not? Do you remember that part? Go back to the video and find that part if you don't remember that part. Foreign companies establish joint ventures. Is that true? According to this passage, this is how they may dominate. Affiliates in particular market lose their independence. Is that true when the merger happens? According to the passage, foreign companies lower the cost of their products as compared to that of products of domestic companies. Do they lower or the price gets higher? Did we notice that word, higher price of the product here, charging higher prices? Do you see this point? If you see that point, then perhaps you would have the understanding that the last part may not be the right choice. And the first part are expected to, instead of get accustomed to, makes the first option not the right choice. So we are left with 2 and 3 only. Does this answer suit you? What did you choose for question number 41? That's again in the description box. What did you choose for question number 41? Inference. Here, let's discuss it together. Foreign investors and multinational companies always inference. Inference is what is the most important message that you can derive from the conclusion of this passage. It is not in the best interest of domestic economy to allow much, not at all. Extreme generalizations are seen in option 1 and 2, A and B. Would you agree? Extreme generalizations. Third, with competition law, it is easy to ensure a level playing field. That's what we see in the last line of the passage towards the end. For countries with open economy, FDI investment is essential for growth. Okay. Now, compared to option D, is option C closer to the gist of the passage? How do you identify that? Read the first line and the last line. Do you have words that match with the words given in this option? Yes or no? If it is a yes, the answer is this option. Cool? Now, those of you who have just began their preparation, they might as well be interested in understanding the meaning of the word competition law a little more. They can read this out. And those of you who have felt satisfied so far, they may leave or they may just sit through to understand what's more here. But do appreciate the content of the video by giving it a like. That helps me feel encouraged and keep coming up with more content. Competition law is the field is the field of law that promotes or seeks to maintain market competition by regulating anti-competitive conduct by companies. Competition law is implemented through public and private enforcement. It's also known as antitrust or just antitrust, anti-monopoly, and trade practices law. The act of pushing for antitrust measures or attacking monopolistic companies is commonly known as trust busting. Monopoly competition को kill करता है. मोनोपोली डोमिनेंस की तरफ डायरेक्शन है उसकी, तो हमें उसके लिए कंपटीशन लॉ की जरूरत पड़ती है. अब एफडीआई क्या होता है? Refers to purchase of an asset in another country such that it gives direct control to the purchaser over the asset. मतलब जो अगर दूसरे देश का कंपनी या व्यक्ति हमारे देश की किसी कंपनी को के एसेट्स को परचेज करती है, तो वो व्यक्ति या वो एंटिटी वहां से कानून बना सकती है हमारे देश में जिस कंपनी को उसने अक्वायर किया है या जिन एसेट्स को उसने अक्वायर किया है उन पहलुओं पर. इट्स एन इन्वेस्टमेंट इन द फॉर्म ऑफ कंट्रोलिंग ओनरशिप इन अ बिजनेस इन रियल एस्टेट और इन प्रोडक्टिव एसेट्स सच एज फैक्ट्रीज in one country by an entity based in another country. It is thus distinguished from a portfolio investment or FDI investment by a notion of direct control. The origin of the investment does not impact the definition such as FDI. The investment may be made either inorganically by buying a company in the target country or organically by expanding the operations of an existing business in that country. जो इकोनॉमिक्स पढ़ते हैं वो अपना इंसाइट हमारे साथ शेयर कर सकते हैं कमेंट बॉक्स में. एफडीआई के एग्जांपल्स में से ये कुछ एग्जांपल्स आपके सामने हैं. टेक कंपनीज, education, tech companies. Google picked up 7.73 of Reliance US platforms for $4.5 billion, making it one of the biggest deals in recent Indian corporate fundraising sessions. ये FDI के examples हैं. अब इसके benefits and drawbacks. Benefits क्या हैं? हमें preferential tariff मिल जाता है अगर हमारा business ज़्यादा FDI लेकर आता है. टैक्स ब्रेक्स मिल जाते हैं. एबिलिटी टू डाइवर्सिफाई फर्दर मिल जाता है. एक देश के लिए रिसीव करना फॉरेन फंड, सम बेनिफिट्स, greater employment opportunities, stimulus to its domestic economy, and access to some of the latest technologies and modern management methods, technical know-how. ये भी थोड़ा controversial है, मगर benefits तो हैं ही. Local business lose out कर सकते हैं. और क्या ड्रॉबैक हो सकता है? ये वॉलमार्ट बहुत ज्यादा चर्चा में था. रिटेल एंड Walmart. There's always the risk of profit repatriation, which means that any profits generated in India will not enter the domestic economy. There's no doubt that FDI investment will continue to rise in India exponentially. The central government has made sectors 100% open to FDIs. India's airlines are one of these sectors. As more global players enter the domestic market, it is the consumer who will benefit the most due to intense competition. So competition is important, hence competition law. All right. I hope you benefited from watching this video. And this is 2012 passage. Just before this video, there's another video that talks about a passage from 2011. Please give me some direction. Show me how to support you more, how to help you more. And believe in yourself, in your potential always. Good luck. Have a fantastic day.